What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for another episode of my series, Ranked. Ranked is where I go through and obviously, as the title would imply, rank from worst to best a band or artist's studio albums, or compilations if that's something that seems to be appropriate, and today I've made an exception. I haven't done this before up to this point, but because I normally like to have at least 5 albums in order to do a ranked episode, I decided to count Conventional Weapons, which truly is an album in spirit, and it is the final release that we officially got from My Chemical Romance before the breakup. I know that's something we don't like to talk about, but I just wanted to put it out there as to why you'll be seeing it on this list. So from all the way back to I Brought You My Bullets, You Brought Me Your Love, to Conventional Weapons in 2012-2013, we have My Chemical Romance ranked. This is something that's been long requested, and as most of you guys probably know that watch my channel, this is one of my favorite bands of all time. Ranked episodes are a lot of effort and work, so if you would, please drop a like on this video to show support, help me get this one to 1,000 likes, and share it out with another My Chemical Romance fan. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video because I have a very surprising My Chemical Romance related announcement that I think might shock a lot of people. We'll see. The comments will tell. Anyways, leave a comment on that. Anything else you feel about this list today, or just general thoughts, or maybe your own ranked list. Leave it in the comments. I'll read through, like, and reply to as many as I can. And let's just go ahead and get started. My Chemical Romance ranked worst to best. What a predicament I've found myself in, loving every single record that a band has released, making the less than coveted bottom spot a very difficult decision. Anguish and Ruin dominate Bullets, an album that still sounds quite tense in modern day. The vocals can go from manic to apathetic from track to track, but so can the music. The band showed a fantastic display of talent and chemistry on their first full-length. It's like they were destined for bigger things or something. With MCR forming shortly after the September 11th attacks, a certain dark feeling lingered on this record. Ray Toro and Frank Iero tore it up on some of these, like Our Lady of Sorrows and Vampires Will Never Hurt You, approaching them with loud and fast playing styles. Restraint can also be seen in the beautiful serenade Early Sunsets Over Monroeville and in the calmer moments of the closing cut Demolition Lovers. The title of the album is quite interesting once you learn of the stories that unfold with each passing song. The theme is loose, but each song is tied to a tale of love and separation, each one having its own reason as to why the romance can happen or else will not last. It occasionally feels a bit overdone, but it's really hard for me to complain with how well the lyrics, music, and vocals are executed overall. Jeff Rickley of Thursday produced this album and did a nice job of capturing a raw, at times animalistic sound from the guys. He ended up backing out of the production of their next record because he didn't like the sound much at all based on the songs that they had brought to the table and didn't think they'd be successful. Anyways, this might go down as my least favorite My Chem album, but remember, it's almost like picking a favorite child here. Cut me some slack. This technically isn't an album, I'm well aware of that fact, but it is a collection of 10 singles that kick ass and went on to influence Danger Days, even though these songs were released after that. Long story short, I personally count it as an entry into their discography in album form, and this list shall treat it as such. Conventional Weapons is ripe with treasure just waiting to be discovered. You a fan of softer power ballads that might bring a tear to your eye? The light behind your eyes has you covered. Oh, you want to tear shit up and cut loose? Boy Division kicks down the door with energy, and Make Room pulsates punk rock energy. Commentary on war and government is loudly heard on the almost sarcastic Gun, full of loudmouth lyrics, buzzing guitars, and glam rock backing vocals. This particular song has turned into one of my top favorites by MCR, further reminding me why this collection of tracks deserves much more attention. Rounding out the collection's best offerings, we have the almost desert-leaning Tomorrow's Money, the alt-rock prowler Surrender the Night that seriously puts on a guitar show, plus the catchy, sizzling jam Ambulance. There's a few moments that don't give the listener much of a reason to replay it, with Kiss the Ring getting a bit stale over the years, and The World is Ugly just being straight up cheesy in places. I mean, the world is ugly, but you're beautiful to me. Not your best lyrics, Gerard. Do pay attention to that song's outro, though. Notice the ghost in the snow line? If it sounds familiar, it's because it should. Think back to Vampires Will Never Hurt You and see what similarities you can find. I really love that the band gave us these songs. You can easily see how they took some of these riffs and vocal melodies and turned them into songs like Scarecrow and Na 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 for Danger Days. As the last release by My Chem before the breakup, I'm okay with this. Well, I'm not okay, but I'm okay. Just trust me. Blending a comic book world with a pedal-to-the-metal rock record makes for a truly impressive album from the mind of My Chemical Romance, more specifically, the mind of Gerard Way. The title of this album is also the title of a comic series he brought to life, a passion of his that's clearly taken the front seat in life as music has become secondary. For a brief fleeting moment, we had a world where Gerard was 50-50 in terms of his passions, and that world became a place I inhabited quite often, starting with the release of Danger Days in November of 2010. While I learned later on that many people were super upset by the shift in sound after the Black Parade, I was too busy rocking the fuck out and having fun. After the theatrical emotions were shelved, we get a different kind of story here, one that's a bit more loose in its concept. We're greeted by Dr. Death-defying, your surgeon, your proctor, your helicopter... Sorry, I got carried away. The interludes and transitions actually feel nice for once, as I usually breeze right on by them without a care in the world, on a lot of albums at least, but this actually makes you feel like you're tuned into some pirate radio station in the desert. Super cool. It's not hard to find reasons to love this record. The drums, guitars, and even the newly added keys give a really rich feeling to the music of Danger Days. Bulletproof Heart still takes the cake as one of my top 10 from the band. I almost picture the start of this one with someone face down in a puddle in the desert, with the character waking up as this distant feeling of the music turns into a ravenous sting. It's almost impossible not to sing along at the top of your lungs, air guitar wildly, and dance uncontrollably as you listen. The party doesn't end there, though. Get those lighters in the air for the absolute bliss of Scarecrow. Throw caution to the wind with Planetary Go, and shout back all of the words to Party Poison. All three of those are just chomping at the bit to give you a shot of life and energy in its purest form. Or you could just build up walls and pretend like the emotional slices the kids from yesterday and the only hope for me is you don't get to you. Your call, my friends. Danger Days takes an open mind to truly explore, but once you're in, you're in. Spastic punk ramblings, poignant synth-driven grooves, aggressive bass lines and guitar vibrato. Don't even try to think that this album isn't versatile. I highly suggest playing it from start to finish because something new and unique stands out with each and every spin.
Love it or leave it, you can't understand a pretty face, but you do, so carry on. I wouldn't front the scene if you pay me. I'm just the way that the dark made me.
I promise I will eventually get to a full-on album review for this someday, but for now, let's talk about why I'm ranking 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge at number 2. Arguably their most beloved release, 3 Cheers carried the dark patterns of their first record with a newfound lyrical complexity. The production was cleaned up, the band played more tightly, and good God, did they knock that sophomore slump out of the damn park. Like, they kicked its ass so bad that Jeff Rickley, the producer of the first record who had doubted their new sound, had to eat his own words and give the band kudos for reaching such high levels of success. 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge is everything you crave in an album that falls under the umbrella of rock. It has instantly recognizable guitar leads, cheetah-like drum reflexes, well-equipped lyrical focus, and a vocalist with an immense charisma that grabs you by the throat and demands your full attention. The guys landed in the mainstream at the perfect time, going full throttle behind singles like Helena, or Helena, if you're someone that pronounces it that way, named after Gerard and Mikey Way's grandmother, and of course I'm Not Okay, two of my favorite songs of all time. I was completely enamored with My Chem as soon as I discovered them via music videos on Fuse in 2005. This album was my introduction to the band, and I was hanging on to every single word, not even exaggerating. I was intoxicated with how powerful and high-octane their songs could be, but also with how they reeled me in on emotionally tinged songs like The Ghost of You. Many of the band's greatest songs can be found here, and I'm not just talking about those 3 singles. It's not a fashion statement, it's a fucking death wish, pounces with lightning fast guitars and drums. You Know What They Do to Guys Like Us in Prison is the best kind of playful and witty, and Give 'Em Hell opens with a fast bass riff before becoming a legendary dark rocker. Three Cheers is an iconic record that deserves every accolade it's received. Each and every band member stepped up in a major way, paving the way for not only fame, but also a legacy that will remain intact in music history forever.
There's a place in the dark where the animals go. You can take off your skin in the cannibal glow. Juliet loves a beat and the lust it commands. Drop the dagger and lather the blood on your hands, Romeo. I've really been on a bender and it shows.
So your band is blowing up. You got tons of adoring fans that would probably be fine with whatever new crap you decided to release. What do? Oh, did you say release the most ambitious album of your career and tell an incredible story of a cancer patient as he faces his own mortality and afterlife? Well, if so, then you're a very specific guesser for one, and two, you're absolutely right. Not only is The Black Parade ambitious, it's one of the greatest albums ever released. I can't even begin to say how sorry I am for you if you've slept on this one, because this is hands down an album that you need in your life. If you're too cool for school and don't listen to MCR because you're not an emo wimp, then good for you. The guitar leads on Dead are stronger than you'll ever dream of being. Sorry, that's my Gerard level of sass flaring up again. Back to the story. So the patient is our main protagonist on this rock opera journey through life and death. And while you might not always be aware of this narration, rest assured it's happening. What hardcore fans need to realize, though, is that others can enjoy this album without knowing its story. There's nothing wrong with loving songs from the album casually, just hope it's a gateway to them wanting to know more about this masterpiece. I've never in my life felt everything so much while taking in an album. It truly raises every sense and pulls you away from reality, which is an escape we sometimes all need, no matter how old you may be. Hand to God, I still get shivers down my spine when hearing nearly every song here. The vocal harmonies, the fluctuations in voice, the incredibly skilled guitar playing that gets downright mind-blowing, the punching drums that never fail to impress, this album has it all. From the venomous afterlife guitar takedown Dead, the gut punch I Don't Love You, the long reflection and sadness Disenchanted, or perhaps the crazed vaudeville meltdown Mama, this album simply does not stop. Famous last words saved my teenage self from depression and made me feel on top of the world and actually confident more than I could ever express. I cried my eyes out to cancer more times than I can count as my own mother battled the disease. Sleep is the perfect degree of jaded anger and one of the best vocal performances from Gerard Way I can think of. This Is How I Disappear and The Sharpest Lives remain my favorite back-to-back combo of songs ever, playing with a lurking feeling of doom, suspense, and twisted cynicism. What I'm getting at and what I'm trying to say is that I've recently decided on something that I've been mentally debating for years now, and at this point in my life, I can confidently say that My Chemical Romance's The Black Parade has replaced Green Day's American Idiot as my favorite album of all time. Hear it, spend time with it, cultivate that love, and come back to it often. You'll be rewarded, I promise. Well, that certainly is a weight off of my shoulders. That's been something that I've been thinking about and debating mentally for years, but I finally decided on. So I do hope that you of course will respect my opinion. Other than that, I do hope that you enjoyed MCR Ranked. Let me know your list in the comment section down below, along with any other thoughts on this episode. If there's other bands or artists that you'd like to see me tackle on Ranked in the future, then please drop a comment down below. Next up, I'll be attempting to tackle the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's going to be a big one. Anyways, don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, and if you're able to, please support me on Patreon to help extensive videos like this keep coming on a monthly basis. It's the top link down below. Quick access to Patreon is in this annotation over in the corner of your screen there. If you want to see the last episode of Ranked, which was on the Killers, then please tap right over here and watch that episode. If you want to see another recent video that I put a lot of work into, then click right over here, or you can find me on social media at all of these links here in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon for more on ARTV.